good morning, everybody. I'm WFMY News 2 Meteorologist Ed Matthews. It's 11 o'clock, and it is time to talk about our approaching winter storm. We're going to continue to update you every hour on the situation as we expect snow to move into the area as we head through the afternoon. And even before then, some of you may actually experience a flurry or a very isolated snow shower, but really ramping up mid-afternoon and into the evening hours. Let's head over to our graphics. The first thing that I want to show you is that we do expect at least some precipitation to move in during the afternoon hours. So that'll be something that we'll be watching across the area today. I do want you to kind of chime in if you get a chance. We have a new way of you communicating with us during these live cut-ins here. If you have a weather question about the impending winter storm, we'd like for you to text us at 336-379-5775. That's 336-379-5775. And I'm going to allow myself a little bit of extra time at the end of this cut-in, and I'm going to try to answer at least a couple of those questions. All right, let's jump in and talk about things. Of course, our weather impact alert will go into effect later on this afternoon, but it's going to be in effect through Tuesday morning because we are going to see major impacts from this winter storm. We're looking at dangerous icy travel, and also one of the big concerns is power outages, and they could be widespread, especially once we get freezing rain to mix with the snow that we expect this afternoon. And then in the wake of this system, once all the precip moves out by Sunday night, we're going to get another really big batch of very bitterly cold Arctic air. And by Tuesday morning, we're forecasting a low of 5 above zero. That's the temperature, but just a little bit of wind could give us wind chills on Tuesday morning that would be several degrees below zero. So make sure you have supplies that would last for several days. You want to protect your pipes. And also, we've been telling you in recent days, make sure that you have a game plan in case your power goes out, because with upwards of a half of inch of ice or more, we could certainly see those power outages. Now, we take a look at the radar, and you look and you say, oh boy, is it snowing over our part of the Piedmont? Well, you could get a flurry or a snow shower sometime before the afternoon, but a lot of this is drying up before it reaches the ground. We have a very dry and cold atmosphere in place, and I'm going to show you some pretty amazing dew point temperatures coming up in just a minute. But remember, this is a big storm, and it's covering a large part of the United States. We've got winter weather advisories in effect from Texas through the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, and all the way to the East Coast, and that's including us right here in the Piedmont Triad as well. So certainly a very nasty situation that we expect to unfold really later on this afternoon, especially tonight and lasting through the day tomorrow. And of course, you can see in our area various winter weather alerts that will be in effect well into the day on Monday. To our south and southwest, an ice storm warning, and for the Triad north and northeast, we have a winter storm warning. With the snow moving in later today, we could rack up several inches of snow before we start to see a changeover. Okay, let's talk about the very dry air in place. That's the reason initially a lot of this snow is drying up before it reaches the ground. These are some really low dew points. Remember, dew points tell us how dry the atmosphere is, we got single-digit dew points, and look at Danville and Roxborough, where the dew point has dropped to 4 below zero. So again, when the precipitation falls, it actually dries up before it reaches the ground, and you can see to our north, up over Virginia and into Maryland, Richmond has a dew point 11 below zero. So initially, a lot of this snow is going to be eaten up by evaporation, but once we saturate the atmosphere, you can bet the snow is really going to start to come down later this afternoon and into the evening and overnight period with that transition to sleet and to freezing rain later tonight and certainly during the day tomorrow. Temperatures are in the 20s. They're not going to go anywhere. Low and mid 20s right now, but just a little bit of wind. Yeah, we've got it feel like temperatures of 11 out at PTI. It feels like 9 up over Danville, Virginia, 16 the wind chill at Winston-Salem, 19 at Lexington, 18 at Asheboro. We're seeing similar numbers out over the mountains and foothills. Now we're switching over to our forecast. Our forecast radar, our Futurecast, and this is what it looks like around 5 p.m. Starting to see some snow breakout that's actually reaching the ground. I think 4, 5, 6 o'clock we'll start to see some of this in the Triad. Now, our friends out over the mountains and foothills, you could actually see a little bit of the white stuff by early to mid-afternoon, but here later on in the afternoon. And then pretty quickly, we think, as we go into the evening and overnight period after racking up several inches of snow here locally, it's going to change over to what we think will be primarily, at least for a while, we will have sleet. And we could get easily an inch or two of ice pellets or sleet. And then later on tonight and pretty much all day coming up on Sunday, we expect this to be primarily freezing rain, and that's when we're going to start to see a pretty major coating of ice on trees and on power lines. And I think later tonight and certainly on Sunday, that's when we, excuse me, I've been talking since 3 a.m. this morning. That's when we're really going to start to see some of the power outages. And again, we get enough of that ice, we're expected to see widespread power outages here in the Piedmont. All the precipitation should be out. This is around 5 o'clock on Sunday, but all the precipitation should be out and winding down during Sunday evening. And thereafter, we're just going to see a lot of cold air. So what we get, whatever form, whether it be snow, sleet, freezing rain, it looks as though it's going to hang around for a while with these very frosty temperatures. A look at the surface weather map. Arctic high pressure is up over the Great Lakes. It's sending in the very cold Arctic air. And of course, we've got low pressure that's getting organized over the southern plains. That will track right across our area later today through tomorrow and bring the winter weather. But as the low pressure gets closer, it's going to try at least to warm up the mid-levels of the atmosphere while we stay well below freezing at the surface, and that is a recipe for freezing rain. And that's the reason we're very confident that we are going to see a changeover after initial snow, changeover to sleet, and then eventually on to freezing rain. And as the low pressure moves off the east coast, we'll clear things out. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even Thursday are going to be dry. We don't expect any precipitation, but it is going to be bitter cold across our area. Let's talk about the sleet situation. 2 to 3 inches north of I-40, 1 to 2 inches of sleet south of I-40. Now, I'd rather have sleet or snow than accumulating freezing rain. So the longer it sleets or snow, the better we will be. But at any rate, the roads will become very icy, and they're likely to stay icy probably through Tuesday and maybe even Wednesday in the new week. Snowfall amounts north and west of the Triad, we could rack up 2 to 4 inches of snow before it changes over. Here in the immediate Metro Triad, we're expecting about 1 to 2 inches of snow late today and through the evening hours. Our areas south of the Triad, south of Asheboro towards Troy and over to Lee County and Moore County, Chatham County, the snowfall amounts are going to be less there, but unfortunately those areas are going to actually see a little bit more in the way of ice. At least a quarter to maybe upwards of a half of an inch of ice or maybe more here in the Triad and points to the south as well. And this is just really, we think, going to expand the power outage situation. And again, widespread power outages could last for several days across our area. The impacts from this storm are going to be major, and they are going to be widespread, not only across the Carolinas and Virginia, but as we talked about earlier, the storm impacts go from Texas all the way to New England. Okay, what about the nasty freezing rain risk? Of course, more of that accumulating to our south because of the quicker changeover. You can see south of Greensboro toward Asheboro and Troy, down through the Sandhills. Those areas could rack up a half to maybe over a half of an inch of ice. You only need about a quarter of an inch of ice to start getting power outages. So that's the reason we're feeling, unfortunately, pretty confident that we're going to see some widespread power outages across the area. North of that, about a quarter to a half, and then in our far northwestern areas, there will be icing for everybody, but smaller amounts north and west of the Triad because those areas will likely see snow for a longer period of time. So sleet is a moderate concern, but the ice, the dangerous travel, and the power outages are in the extreme category for winter weather impacts here in the Piedmont. So that's the reason we've been telling you in recent days, just get prepared for a prolonged period of power outages. Make sure you have an alternative heat source. You got plenty of batteries. You charge up the cell phone and be ready for those power outages. Now, once the storm moves on out, we're going to be bitterly cold. We're looking at feel-like temperatures by Tuesday morning that could go to 0 or below. We're forecasting a low temperature on Tuesday, right around 5 above 0. So very cold air. We'll see the snow and maybe a little sleet mixed in develop as we go through the afternoon, and then overnight tonight some snow, but this will be primarily a sleet and then eventually a freezing rain situation as lows drop into the teens. And then as we go into the day tomorrow, we'll see periods of mainly freezing rain, and temperatures will be well below normal as we hold into the mid-20s. Now, our weather impact alert will go into effect later today, but once it's in effect, it will be in effect right on through Sunday and Monday and even into Tuesday. We'll have to wait and see how things pan out as we go into the day on Wednesday, because we'll likely have some icy conditions even on Wednesday morning. And look at this, Thursday and Friday, another batch of very cold Arctic air will be working into our part of the Piedmont, so we expect temperatures to remain cold over the next 7 days. So any ice or snow melt is going to be a very slow process here in our part of the Piedmont. So a very messy situation shaping up for our part of the Piedmont. Snow moving in later this afternoon and through the evening, several inches of snow on the ground, and then changing over to sleet and sleeting, maybe an inch or two of sleet, and then late tonight and during the day tomorrow, we're looking at that nasty freezing rain for our area, and many communities could rack up a half to maybe upwards of 3/4 of an inch of ice. And I think that's when we're really going to start to see widespread power outages here in our part of the Piedmont. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to get to any of your questions because I had some really cool graphics that I wanted to show you. Obviously, lots to talk about. Well, we're going to have our other meteorologists that will do hourly updates right here on WFMY Plus. So stay tuned. We'll get your questions and we'll keep you safe. Stay safe. Stay tuned to WFMY News 2, and we'll continue to keep you updated as long as we have to. And I think that's going to be a long time, well into next week. Stay safe and have a great afternoon.